Good, guys. It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another live, guys. And tonight's live is going to be on 10 must-have deep sleepers that you should be stashing. Yes, guys, we got deep sleeper stash guys. So we don't have to learn about our history, right? Because a lot of times I guess you could say the powers take away people's heritage, and then they kind of go ahead.
regardless
Go
just
ahead.
regardless, I was just going to say, like, it doesn't matter, who you are politically or religiously or nothing like that. America is a melting pot. It's a
Correct.
young country. It's a very young country. So
Correct.
when
Correct.
you compare it to other world countries, we're still a baby country, versus some of my most
Will Hayes. So yeah, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Start over, man. Say that what you were saying about Willie Hayes.
Willie Mays is a legend. He's an icon. He's a Hall of Famer. He's easily one of the quickest names that pops in your head when you think about, like, baseball legends. You got Babe Ruth, you got Hank Aaron, you got Willie Mays, you got Jackie Robinson, you got all these iconic names. He's right up there with it. So lately, we've been taking a lot of L's in the sports world. We've been losing a lot of icons recently. So I guess that's just a part of life. But we've lost some legends in the past month and a half.
Correct. Let me see. Make sure this is gonna be fixed because it looks a little blurry. How does it look on your end?
It
Does it
looks
look
okay.
blurry?
No, it looks okay.
Okay, there it go. It's tightened up. Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, man. So listen, man. I grew up in a baseball family. And we had a baseball wet right outside of our house. And so, but I was a football player. I love football, but I know a lot about baseball, man. And it's a shame that the Negro League and the Major League Baseball didn't come together at the same time. I don't want to be crazy. And this world we have grew, so I understand why. But now when they brought the stats over to Major League Baseball, where it's all one stat, like it's no different between Negro League and Major League. It's a shame that really Mays didn't get to make it to that what was that inauguration that they was gonna have for him. And I feel bad about that. But either way, man, he's still a great. Him, Hank Aaron, they all greats. And the white players, they were great, like Pee Wee, Babe Ruth, Ted Williams. They was all great baseball players. And baseball is still a growing sport. I like to watch it only when I'm betting on it or I go to the game. I don't really like watching it. It can get boring, but they working on that too. So yeah, man, it's good that we're gonna be able to give Willie Mays some respect. He's probably, if you would say 10 baseball players that only could be in the Hall of Fame, it would probably be Willie Mays. He probably would be one of those guys that would be inducted out of the 10 guys. I mean, that's how good he was. I mean, over the shoulder catches, running to the wall, hitting the ball in the gap, stealing bases. I mean, this guy was a phenom baseball player.
I used to practice that catch in my backyard. I would try to recreate it. I would throw it from one side of the backyard and run to the other and try to catch it like that.
Right.
Yeah, man, and it's just weird. It's happening, a day before tomorrow. I mean, it'll be talked about in the sports world tomorrow and his impact on the game. But,
Right.
like, we love sports, and sports brings people together. So
Facts.
again, it's a big loss. He was a legend. He's an icon. So, you know, he'll be remembered for a long time, even if you're not a big baseball guy, even if you're not a huge baseball fan, all about Willie Mays. You've heard the name.
Right. Right. And just to talk a little bit about some of the news that's going on in baseball before we move on to another sport, before we get started with our must-have players. Aaron Jones did get hit by a pitch. Aaron Judge, I'm sorry. Aaron Judge did get hit by a
I'm
pitch
like,
today.
whoa, he's playing baseball now.
No. Aaron Judge did get hit by a pitch today, and it could. I don't think. Hopefully, it didn't break his wrist because Anthony Rizzo already got hurt and is out for about a couple of months. So hopefully, Aaron Judge is going to be okay. Let's see. That's about it. And Mike Trout, we all know Mike Trout been out for a while. They don't know when he's coming back. So I just want to talk about a couple of those players, some of the news that I've seen. WNBA, I want to talk about that real quick, man. How do you feel about Reese and what's the other girl's name? The player, the basketball player, the white girl.
Caitlin.
How you feel about Angela Reese and Caitlin Clark?
I think the media isn't handling it in a good way, because there's drama in sports. There's drama in male sports. If they spun it just a little different, I think it would catch a lot of popularity with maybe non-fans of sports or the WNBA, and be like, oh, look at this drama, and they might pay attention or something. It's a way to attract new fans. Drama is a way to attract new fans. I know it sounds weird, but I think they're handling it wrong, and they're kind of going off on a different tangent than what they have to. I do want to see the WNBA succeed. I want to see them all get paid and, get their endorsements and everything, just like, men's sports. But they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because people who aren't, into the WNBA, they might be put off by the way the media is spinning it. I don't think it's bad for the sport. I think it's good for like views and ratings and stuff. She is good for the sport, because for years and years they've said, pay these women. Why aren't they more popular? Why aren't they getting their ratings and their paychecks? And like, you bring in, a player like that who could change the face of the WNBA for the masses. And then you got like certain players, dogging her or hating on her. And then you got the media hating on her too. So it's just, in my opinion, if I was running the WNBA, I would talk to my media pundits and be like, hey, spin the story just a little bit different. Don't make it so like combative. Make it more like drama type thing. And I think that would be better for the sport in the long run, and for the hoopla that's going on right now. What do you think about that, TD?
Yeah, I think they in their baby stages, so they still learning how to market their players, right? And I think some of the NBA managers or owners need to come in and help some of the WNBA guys and help them be able to run their team. And I think that's what's going on. And actually, man, they've been getting a lot more hype than they got their whole career. So I think everything is going to be fine. I do think they playing the race card a little bit with it, but that's okay. That's we are in the real world. We are in America. I think you play on that a little bit, but don't play on it too much. I mean, you got to take it back to Magic and Larry. They played on that. But Magic and Larry, they respect each other too. So that's the thing. I think Angela Reese them needs to understand that and maybe calm down on certain areas, but keep that edge.
I agree.
One thing I will give Angela Reese, I'm gonna give her a pioneer, and I'm gonna goat her a little bit. Is she is bringing the sexiness that we all, and I hope any woman don't get offended for what I'm saying, because women are beautiful, and I believe when you bring that part to it, because you see it in the MMA, you see it in boxing, women express their beautifulness, and I say it that way, with sensuality, and I think they need to do that more, and I think more people will come, like more men will come watch the game that may not be a big fan, but they just want to see beautiful women play a skilled game. So I think that part is going to be really, really good. How do you feel about that?
I agree with what you said, playing the drama, but maybe a little too much. And that's kind of what I was getting at. If they walk that fine line and they have their ratings, viewerships going up, popularity's going up, without it having to be like too political, I think you got a winning recipe there.
Correct.
And I agree with you. We all love looking at hot women.
Right. Right. They shouldn't get offended about that. Right. A lot of them get offended about that, and I think they losing it. That's like saying, I'm a man, and don't say I need to be strong. Like, I'm a man, so I need to be strong as a man, right? And if women want to come and look at my muscles, that's fine, right? Even if they don't care about the game. The same thing about women. Now, we don't want to go out there and sexualize you and disrespect you. No, that's not intended. But to say, oh man, I love Angela Reese. Why? She's hot. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's part of the game. But yeah, man, let's get on and talk a little bit about some football, bro. So, man, do you want to start it off, man?
Yeah, you guys. So what we're gonna do is stash players, right, to help you win the league,
Right,
5 each. Okay.
right.
If you guys have stash player opinions, people you think who are gonna, come alive in the third and fourth quadrant, help you win a title, put the names in the chat. And then I see the chat's going funny already, so we'll get to that. So you guys, so put your, questions, comments in the chat. And we'll get to it at the end of the list. But
And
yeah, you
also hit
want
the
to
like
start?
button, guys. Also hit the like button. Go to the 3 dots at the top and click on that and hit the like button. It's called the HBO special. I got that from a channel that I watch, and it's called Help a Brother Out. So hit the like button, guys. This is cutting edge content. Help the channel grow. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. All right, so you want to start or you want me to start?
You can start, bro. Go ahead. You the guest.
All right, so stash player, I'm gonna start with quarterback, and this one might make some of you go, huh? What are you talking about, man? It's Joe Flacco. It's Joe Flacco, geriatric Joe. So Joe Flacco could have won me a league last year with the Browns. I stashed him to ride the bench. Pause. He ended up balling out in the fourth quadrant. He made Cooper go bananas in the playoffs. He made Njoku a top 5 tight end to close the year out. He basically carried the Browns to the playoffs, backed by that, good defense and decent running game, even though Chubb was down. So I don't think that scenario is any different this year. He went to a new team. He got paid backup money to back up a young, explosive, injury-prone quarterback in Anthony Richardson. So if you guys are out there drafting Anthony Richardson to be this elite quarterback, which I think he will be for fantasy, you're going to want to pick this guy up and probably stash him and handcuff your investment with Anthony Richardson. You've seen what he could do with weapons. He goes to another team with a great scheme, a decent O-line, and good weapons all around too. What's to say he would do it any different? I don't think he would. So if he was given that opportunity, that guy could be maybe a league winner, guys. So that to me is a guy you'd want to stash if you can manage the room. Now, you don't want to stash a handcuffed quarterback. It's just something to think about. Like if this opportunity arises for him, look out, man.
Right. The chat says, what team is he on? What team is Joe Flacco on?
Joe Flacco is on the Indianapolis Colts.
Right. And he's backing up a guy who is very volatile with injuries. That's why they went out and got him. If he goes down, this team can still win because of what Joe Flacco did last year. So that's why they went out and got Joe Flacco. That actually put a little bit of pressure on Anthony Richardson. Do you think so?
I think so, man, because like if you're a young player, you know that he knows he's talented. MVP who can easily take the reins and carry the team if you get hurt or go out. There's absolutely pressure on Richardson. 100%.
Correct. Correct.
What do you
So
think about that?
yeah, well, I mean, I agree. I think they did a great job by bringing Joe Flacco, and I think Anthony Richardson is going to learn from him. Most of all, it shouldn't put a lot of pressure on him where he think he's going to get his job taken. If he
No,
gets hurt, he should run the ball, but learn from Joe Flacco. Maybe slide sometimes. Now, if you on the goal line, maybe get in there and score that touchdown. But if you 40, 50 yards away, maybe slide. I think guys got to learn that. Like Cam Newton needed to learn that. I think Lamar Jackson learned that. I think Jalen Hurts is learning that. So I think it's just going through a learning curve. So I like having Joe Flacco there. I think he's going to help him also with his pocket presence.
do you think he would get shy with how he's playing to maybe avoid an injury? Like, do you think he'll limit himself on what he's able to do on the field because of that?
No, I do not. I believe Joe's going to tell him, listen, man, I'm not here to take your job. Do what you do. I think his rushing upside is going to go down because he wants to stay healthy. But I think when it comes time for him to score in the green zone, I think he's going to go out there and try to score. I don't think he's going to be timid. I don't think so. But it's possible. That's a great question.
It's just a different perspective on it, and I don't think he's going to get shy either. I think he's played his whole life at an elite level. I don't think that's going to change.
Right. So guys, make sure you put your questions in the chat. We will get to it at the end of the stream when we finish reading out our list. So, guys, just be patient. I'm going to get to everybody's question. Okay. So, let's get on to my first quarterback. My first quarterback that I think you should be stashing is Justin Fields. Yes, guys, Justin Fields. And the reason why you should be stashing Justin Fields is because Russell, last name Wilson, guys, he hasn't been playing great the last couple of years. They want Justin Fields to be able to take this job, but he's going to have to do it. They're not going to give it to him. But I believe because of Russell Wilson, he could go down with an injury. Also, Justin Fields' athletic ability and his skill set, you need to have this guy stashed. Now, it depends on your league format. I don't think you should be stashing this guy and missing out on waiver wire ads. But if you have room on your team, you got a good deep a deep bench where your league allows that, right? Pause. Then I think you should stash Justin Fields in case he takes over this team. And I believe that this guy, his rushing upside, he's one of the best rushing upside quarterbacks that we ever seen in the NFL. Like he had 60, 70-yard runs his second year in the league. So I think you should be stashing Justin Fields, bro. How you feel about Justin Fields?
Who's his OC?
Arthur Smith.
What does Arthur Smith like to do?
Run the
offense. What does Justin Fields do at an elite level for the position?
Run the ball. There you go. Yes, sir.
I love that take, man. And it's kind of along the same strategy as Flacco. Like, do you want to potentially hold a non-starter? Pause.
Right.
Maybe you do. That's definitely a guy I'm going to have on my radar in late rounds for sure. Depending how my quarterback situation's looking. Absolutely, man. I love that take.
Thank you. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure.
All right, guys. I guess I'll start off with my running back.
Okay.
The guy that I believe that I think you should be stashing as a running back is going to be a rookie, and it's Tyrone Tracy. Not Tracy Porter, Tyrone Tracy. So the reason why I believe that you should be stashing Tyrone Tracy, guys, the guy in front of him is Devin Singletary. Now, listen, Devin Singletary, I probably would have called him chopped liver last year, but he ain't chopped liver. He's cube steak. Cube steak is a little bit better than chopped liver. So with him being cube steak, I believe that Tyrone Tracy is going to have a chance to come in this backfield and get 50-50 carries. Now, some games it might be a Devin Singletary game, and some games it might be a Tyrone Tracy game. But either way, guys, with the value that Tyrone Tracy ADP is, I'm okay with that, right? So I love Tyrone Tracy. I'm stashing him as a rookie, and I'm not drafting. I'm not dropping him. I'm not dropping running backs that I stash because they're gonna have an opportunity. I probably have to wait till I get to the fantasy football playoffs before I drop some of my guys that I'm stashing. Guys, I'm talking about like I hold on to these guys like the thumbnail. It's like money. I'm not dropping them because I don't want nobody else to pick them up and play them against me. How you feel about Tyrone Tracy, bro?
I like his skill set. Converted wide receiver, so he carries PPR value as well, even if he's not a full-time starter. Would you squeeze that backfield? Pause?
Yes, I would. Yes. That's another method of this. You can say that, right? It's a stash, or you could just squeeze. But I agree. This is a top 5 squeeze backfield. I agree with that. Facts.
So you said where Tyrone Tracy's going is a value. He is. So is Singletary. He's going so late.
You can get both of them.
Right.
Right.
I think he might actually get used a little sooner than we're anticipating. Pause. Especially because of his skill set. So you could probably move him around the formation a little bit, maybe in like dual running back setups, something like that. Maybe even throw him in the slot for a play, see what happens, reverse something. I don't know. I target him in my dynasty draft. I didn't get him because another GM was so high on him and his potential future on this team. And coaches already are talking him up and like him, and he's got swagger too. Have you seen him in interviews? Right. So he might be an interesting guy to have on your fantasy squad. Maybe even like at the end of the second quadrant into the third. I'm thinking.
Right. I say from the beginning, it's Devin Singletary. They don't have a lot of draft capital into him, so they're not just gonna give him the job just because they paid him a lot of money. This is not a Miles Sanders type situation in Chuba Hubbard. This is where we ain't paying none of you. Whoever the best guy, I'm gonna put in. So yeah, and I love Tyrone Tracy, man. Tyrone Tracy was my number 3, number 4 running backs when I broke them all down from the beginning of after the combine. I was like, you know what? I like Tyrone Tracy over some of these guys like what's the guy from Carolina? What's his name? The
Brooks?
rookie from Carolina. The rookie running back. Brooks. Yes, I like Tyrone Tracy over Brooks. A lot of people think I'm crazy for that, but I like Tyrone Tracy over Brooks. I like him over Israel Garindo, Trey Benson. I like him over those guys.
Ooh, you like him over Benson?
Yes, as an athletic guy, as me watching this film. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Okay. Yeah, I
the
can see that.
opportunity is two different things. The
Yeah.
opportunity is two different things.
Okay. You just want to clarify, but yeah,
Right.
he's obviously a phenomenal athlete, changing position, heading into the NFL. Like that's crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah, man. I'm interested to watch this team respond to how bad they've been
Right.
in real life, and I want to see they have weapons there now. They got a couple receivers, they got a decent slot receiver, and these guys are going to get the ball. That tight end is going to retire. He might not retire. I don't know. So there's going to be a new number one in this offense, and
Facts.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tyrone Tracy gets some PPR love. Pause.
Right. And also kickoff return too.
Yeah, if you're in a league that gives you points for that, he might be a decent flex or an RB2 in like a zero RB approach, maybe later in the season.
Right.
All right. My guy, also a rookie. So he came from an elite team in college. He is now on an elite team, in my opinion, which will be an elite team this year in the NFL. It's Blake Corum. Blake Corum. So when you look back on the Rams running backs, there's only one that was elite year after year. He's not in the game anymore. His name was Todd Gurley, right?
Right.
Flourished in the system, put up insane fantasy points, real life stats. Dude was a stud. We haven't had that running back or that, archetype in this offense in 2 years, like back-to-back years. Kyron Williams had a phenomenal year last year. He is often injured. He's not like the stereotypical size running back. I don't put too much into that. Seeing, Darren Sproles play as the Chargers here, that's a little dude, but he was strong as hell. He's fast. He was electric. So Kyron might not finish the year. I mean, this is speculation. When he's in the game, he's an easy start. We know that. And he's going second round, high second round, late second round. Blake Corum's already getting talked up in camp. The coaches love him already. And he's balling out in camp. So I don't think he's going to take Kyron's job, but I do think he will be involved early, like in the first and second quadrant, to maybe not get Kyron injured. And then if Kyron gets injured, like you got a league-winning running back. You got a league-winning running back, and you could stack this running back with other Rams players if you guys want to do a stack.
Right. Bruh, I mean, there's several ways to look at this. This is another squeeze opportunity. Pause.
Yes.
It's another squeeze opportunity. Also, is another, if you want to call it RB handcuff. Like I got so many, because to me, RB handcuffs are guys like I believe Alexander Madison was a handcuff, not a squeeze. Because squeeze are guys that they both gonna get opportunities to play. I believe that Blake Corum is gonna get an opportunity to play while Kyron Williams is healthy.
I agree.
So I love Blake Corum. I think one thing that Vay was going to change, he's not going to never run a running back into the ground like he did Todd Gurley. And if he do, it might be for 2 or 3 games in the playoffs, and he's not going to pay you a bunch of money. He's ready to move off for you. So can Kyron Williams get 25, 30 carries in 3 games back to back? Yeah. But why? Because they got Blake Corum, right? So that's why I like having Blake Corum. I drafted him in a few leagues, and he reminds me of Emmitt Smith. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but he's a short guy, right? Pause. But he can move through the holes. Pause. Right? And he can catch the ball. Pause.
He can move through the holes.
So I love Blake Corum. I think Blake Corum is a great squeeze opportunity and a great guy to stash. Now listen, this guy probably might not be like left out on your waivers because people know about this guy. He won a championship, but I still think the ADP is great and you can get him and you can stash him. Don't drop him. If you get him, do not drop him. I told people that last year with Jahmyr Gibbs. I said, listen, I'm not drafting Jahmyr Gibbs in the 3rd or 4th round. But if I get him on my team, I'm drafting him to stash. and I'm not going to drop him because you drop him, that stuff going to come back to hunt you. And so I remember a guy, he had Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs, and he kept saying, well, should I trade one? I said, listen, if you trade one, you better trade them. They're not chopped liver. So if they don't give you what you want, keep both of them. But he kept both of them. And I think he went to the championship because Derrick Henry started eating, pause, and then Jahmyr Gibbs ended up being like a top 5 running back down the stretch in the flex.
I'm interested in drafting Blake Corum and starting him, within maybe the first 3 to 5 weeks of the season. I kind of want to see how they use him the first couple weeks, but you said they're going to run him probably more often than not to keep Kyren fresh and healthy, and I agree with that.
Right.
If all these guys stay healthy, you might be looking at like a Detroit Lions scenario. And you say Gibbs, that's a perfect example. You've got all these weapons, and if they're all healthy, Stafford slinging the ball, dude, go get one of those receivers, get you, Blake Corum or something, and Stafford, and have a stack with the Rams.
Right.
Money, dude. I love it.
Guys, make sure you hit the like button. All you got to do is go up to the 3 dots in the top right corner and hit the like button. We got 25 people here. We only got 10 likes, guys. Help a brother out, HBO special. I'm not begging, but just show some respect when you come in and you get in this cutting edge content. Okay. So you want to start off with the receiver, bro?
Did you do running back? Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, I did mine. Tyrone Tracy.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Trust me, brother. I know how it is. We get in the zone, we'll forget. Trust me.
I know, man. I know. I already forgot. Okay, so for my wide receiver stash, it is a rookie. He's going to a top 5 offense with a lot of weapons. It's Ricky Pearsall from the Niners.
Yes, sir.
So they drafted this guy to utilize him. Again, I think they will use him sooner than people think. Now, we have had injury problems in the past with some of these stars on this team, have we not? Kittle's gotten banged up before. Pause. Debo has gotten banged up before. Pause. These are elite weapons in this offense. So if one of these guys goes down, this guy's going to get a shot. And he's a freak of nature, man. You see his college tape?
Yes.
In the red zone, too, he's a massive red zone target. Pause.
Right.
He is lanky. He's long. Pause.
Pause.
But in this system, man, with this coach, they will scheme him into the right spots. Pause. And this guy might give you, a good return on value. And he's a great stash player, in my opinion. I won't start him at first. I definitely want to see how the offense is. But, man, by quadrant 3 or 4, like, maybe opposing defenses have so much tape now on this system and they need a new face to score some touchdowns. It could be that guy.
Right. Yeah, so guys, if you go to my description box, I have a Phenom Founder. Me and Dynasty Football Key did it. And guys, it's $20 a month for the Patreon, but we ranked all the rookies. And we got our guys high on there. And Ricky Pearsall was one of the guys that graded out the highest. And I was on him, and this is before anybody was talking about how he was going to be elite anything. And he ended up getting drafted in the first round. That's why I believe in this Phenom Founder, because that's the same thing with Tyrone Tracy. So I didn't wait for him to get drafted to the Giants. I don't really do my breakdown like that, because all of you doing when you do it like that, you basically waiting for somebody to to go to a team where they don't got any competition. And sometimes that works out, but sometimes that doesn't. So to me, I'm chasing the ability and what I see with my eyes. So I like Ricky Pearsall. He graded high on the Phenom Founder. I think he's top 5. I'm giving that away right now. I think he's top 5 on the Phenom Founder as a wide receiver. Guys, I love Ricky Pearsall. You got to do it. And that's why they probably not going to play Ayuk, and they probably knew that. So that's probably why they drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round.
Guys, a lot of good comments touching on the topics. Pause. We'll get to the comments. So keep asking questions. Ask away.
Yes, sir. Man. Yes, sir.
I wouldn't be surprised if they let him line up in the tight end spot a couple times.
Pause. Yes.
Pause. Just maybe to catch opposing defense, on their toes a little bit.
Facts. You got a great coach like Kyle Shanahan. They're going to find a way to use him. They did it with Debo as a rookie.
Yep. Exactly. They made
Right.
Debo like a fantasy. He's a gold mine when he hits. I mean,
Right.
he goes
Pause.
like this all year, but
Right.
yeah, exactly. But you
Right.
know what you're getting with that.
Right. Right. But yeah, guys. So my wide receiver that I believe is a mustache is going to be Jalen Tolbert from the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the reason why I believe that
Ooh.
you should be stashing Jalen Tolbert is because I want y'all to tell me right now who is the trusted number 2 wide receiver on the Dallas Cowboys. Outside of Jake Ferguson, we know Ferguson gonna get a hyper targeted.
I was gonna say Jake the Snake Ferguson.
Right, he is. But it's got to be a wide receiver. Now you can say, well, Brandon Cooks, guys. Brandon Cooks is 5'10", and he's like 32, 33 years old. Maybe not that quite that old, maybe 30. I don't believe.
He's still got speed, but he's not that guy he was
He's
on the
not that
second.
guy anymore. He's going to
Yeah.
be. He's good for a committee, right? But I believe Jalen Tolbert last year. I saw Jalen Tolbert like they targeted him in some crucial times. I was like, okay, this guy has a lot of potential. So I would stash Jalen Tolbert and see what happens. Now, if after 4 or 5 weeks, if he can't get it done, then I could say drop this guy. He's not a running back. I don't drop running backs, but wide receivers, I move on from them. They come a dime a dozen. They like women, dimes a dozen. Miss one, next 15, one coming. No pun intended. Right? So I'm okay with stashing Jalen Tolbert, guys. How you feel about Jalen Tolbert, Harambe?
I just picked him up for free in my dynasty league. $0 free 99.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
have CeeDee Lamb, so potential handcuff, potential decent breakout year like we're talking about. Yeah, and I got room on the taxi squad, so I picked him up for free and threw him in the taxi.
Right.
He's explosive and he's got speed, and I think he'll be utilized more this year in the offense. And I believe he's in a contract year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, not quite. I think he's still on his rookie year. I think he's in
Last
his
year of his
third year.
deal. Last year of
Third
his
year. I
deal.
think he got 4 years.
It's getting there. I remember reading like it's getting close, and he was commenting on it, so that's why I brought it up.
Right.
Yeah, man, and like you said, who's the wide receiver too outside of the tight end? Like, it's a rotation. Now they brought in Zeke, so maybe they try to run the ball a little bit more. So
right,
that could also open up boom plays in the secondary for a speedy guy like Tolbert.
Facts. So, bro, you want to go and do your tight end, or you want me to do the tight
end? do the tight end, TD.
Pause.
Pause. Jeez. A lot of pauses today.
Right. Okay. So, guys, I guess I'll go ahead and do the tight end pause. But the tight end that I think you should be stashing, guys, is going to be Daniel Bellinger. Yes, Daniel Bellinger from the New York Giants. And the reason why you should be stashing Daniel Bellinger is because Darren Waller just retired. So if you go back to Daniel Bellinger rookie season, they had a great season that year. They won a playoff game against Minnesota against Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. And Daniel Bellinger that season had a pretty good season for a rookie tight end. He was like top 24. Now that's not really good for tight end in fantasy, but to me, he showed a lot of potential. This offense wasn't built around him. It was built around Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones getting out in space and throwing it to Wan'Dale Robinson. So this year, I'm not saying he's going to be Darren Waller, but I believe that you can pick this guy up and stash him in a dynasty league, or you can pick him up and stream him and have him stash on a week where you got a bye week for your tight end and play this guy. And notice that Daniel Jones will target him because Daniel Jones is a guy that would target tight ends because he's a man's best friend. Tight ends, pause, is a man's best friend. Pause. So, yes, guys, I like Daniel Bellinger. How you feel about Daniel Bellinger, bro? Is that too deep for you? Pause.
There was talk about him last year in fantasy, like an up-and-coming guy. They had Waller, though, so Waller obviously was the startable tight end, even though he was terrible last year, but most of the Giants were, unfortunately. I think they're going to be throwing more, and I think that could help Daniel Bellinger, the starting tight end on the Giants. Now, they're going to be chasing points in several games. Their defense is good, and I think they're a sleeper defense, but to beat the Giants, you probably got to just try to score a bunch, right? And then
Right.
pin your ears back, play defense. So I think maybe the Giants will throw more, which would help Bellinger, who's now the starting tight end. They just lost Barkley, so some PPR value is now gone from him. Singletary will get it, but also in the short game, the intermediate game, it's probably going to be like Wandale and Bellinger.
Right.
So
Right.
I think I'm not sure if I would like draft him to start.
Right.
He's definitely a guy I'd put on the watch list, though. Absolutely.
Right.
And if he's a stash, yeah, I think that's a good stash as like a backup tight end who could eventually become the starting tight end on your fantasy team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And have some sneaky big weeks for you.
And their scheme, favors throwing to the tight end. Pause.
Right. Right. Right.
And he's younger than Waller, and he's probably, he has a job, but he's got to like prove himself now in the media and to the fans and to the coaches. Like, don't be surprised if he goes out and balls in some of these games, right?
Right. I agree.
Man. That's a good stash. It's one I probably wouldn't have on my radar, but like I can definitely see why, especially for a stash. Or if you go no tight end approach, you can get a starting tight end super
Come
late.
on now. Come.
Cutting edge, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right. So for my stash tight end, it's a guy, we talk about on this channel a lot. He did this last year and won people leagues. I'm sure was part of a championship team in a lot of leagues. It's the second string tight end on the Ravens, Isaiah Likely.
Yes, sir.
This guy is explosive. He's got great hands. Pause. He's good at getting open. Lamar gives him the ball. Lamar usually targets the tight end in this offense. He's going to be on the field with a healthy Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, who we're excited about. I'm big on Rashad Bateman this year. I got him cheap in Dynasty to stash and see what he does. But this is a guy you can probably draft in the later rounds and probably feel okay about starting. I'd feel okay about starting this guy. A majority of the community probably will not be comfortable starting him as their fantasy starter. And it's a perfect stash. We have receipts from last year. He balled out. He balled out 3-4 weeks in a row with Andrews down. So he can do it. And they're going to throw more this year, guys. They're going to throw more this year. They brought in that running back to kill the clock after they threw all game. Scored a bunch of points. So I would imagine Likely's going to be involved, probably second quadrant and on. And then if Andrews goes down again, boom, you got a top 5 tight end.
Right. I believe Likely is going to be used like a wide receiver. To me, his game reminds me of a young Shannon Sharp, where they kind of like a smaller guy, but they also fast to be a tight end, and they're kind of like a tweener. So you can put him in line. He's not a great blocker. Shannon Sharp wasn't a great blocker, but when you put him on a linebacker, wasn't no linebacker going to be the guard. Safeties. He's too big for safeties.
When the Chargers were here, they had he wasn't like the full starting tight end. He kind of came up when Gates was still on the team. Do you remember Ladarius Green?
Yes, I do.
Likely reminds me of that guy. Just fast, explosive, good hands who could run these bigger routes. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they use him as a wide receiver either. Let him, run around the formation a little bit in some motion.
Right. I agree with that. All right, bro, you want to go ahead to your last flex play, guy?
Yeah, so the last spot or the 5 spot we call the wild card. It could be any one of these positions. I chose a running back who just got drafted, and I think this guy will probably be the starter by the year's end and will be a hot ticket waiver ad probably pretty quick. And he's going to a team who's going to run the bejesus out of the football. They're not going to throw it like they've thrown in the past. They're going to run the ball a lot. There's a culture change going on. It's Kamani Vidal on the Chargers. So, who do they have for running backs? They've got Gus the Bus,
right?
Who knows the style of offense, and can definitely contribute, and will get a lot of run in the early quadrants, and will probably score a lot of touchdowns. So he's had injury problems too, and he's no spring chicken, man. He's getting up there. He's not quite there yet, but he's getting up there. Who's the other running back they have? J.K. Dobbins.
Yep, J.K. Dobbins. Right.
I'm not touching J.K. Dobbins in any draft, in any format whatsoever. Massive pause.
Right.
Go watch Kamani's tape. This dude is a little tank, man, and they brought him in to run the ball, and I think he's going to get ran early and often. Pause. If Gus the Bus goes down, pause. He's gotten hurt in years past, so I don't think he's ever finished a full season. That might not happen again this year, especially if the team wants to pound the football. Like, that raises his injury risk. J.K. Dobbins, I don't know what they were doing with that, why they brought him in, like maybe to drum up some competition in camp. I don't. What do you think? Is he a practice squad guy? Is he a third stringer? What do you think?
Maybe they want to see if he could be a Deontay Foreman.
That's what I think. Like, maybe he knows, he's got pressure on him to try to prolong his career. So maybe he goes into camp and he's got that fire. So what the coaches and the ownership of this team is doing is genius. I really like what they're doing. It's a complete shift from what the Chargers have been years past. It's misery being a Charger fan. Ask any Charger fan. I drafted this guy in Dynasty in the third round. So I had 2 third-round picks. I took Jalen Wright, then I took Kamani Vidal because I don't have a great running back core on my team. I think this guy's going to be the starter by the end of the year. He carries some PPR value, but I think the sky's the limit for this kid. And if they really try to instill that culture there, he might be a big part of it. He might be a big part of the Chargers offense for years to come.
Right. I'm telling you now, I'm stashing Vidal. Gus Edwards is going to be there early and often. Like, he's going to be getting the carries in the green zone. But as the season goes on, we've seen this with Jahmyr Gibbs. We've seen it with other rookie running backs. They tend to take over in the third and fourth quadrant. I think this guy is a big-time third and fourth quadrant running back, and he could win you a championship by just going off for 3 games, kind of like Zamir White did. Because they like, listen, we're not gonna run Josh Jacobs really that much anymore. We're gonna sit him out. Let's see what Zamir White can do. So Gus Edwards might go out there. He might get nicked up. Vidal might come out there and have a couple good runs. You know what? Let's give him a chance. They don't have any guy that, listen, Gus Edwards got a decent deal, but they ain't paying nobody where they can't play somebody over another guy if he shows some promise. So I like that, bro. I'm definitely stashing him. I'm going to have 2 or 3 rookies on my bench if my league mates don't stop me. That's why I put before your league mates find out, right? So if my league mates don't pick these guys up, I'm definitely doing it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch this. I'm excited to watch the Chargers this year with new coaching and essentially a culture shift, and see how they respond and how it translates to fantasy points. And I could be, on a sick one, but I really believe they brought this guy in to be like a big part of what they're planning to do for the next 5 years.
Right. This is Jim Harbaugh. This team is going to be tough.
Absolutely, man. So, and this kid is tough. I watched a lot of his college tape. He's built, and he's coming from a decent system in college, and he's going to, like you said, he's going to the Harbaugh system, discipline, fundamentals, smash mouth football. And I think the sky is the limit for this kid with that quarterback and the coach, essentially.
Facts. I agree with you 100%. Great take, bro.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna go with my wild card guy, my flex guy. This is a wide receiver. Now, it's a lot of mouths to feed, pause, on this team, but I'm willing to stash the guy because I believe that his route running is elite. They compared this guy to a Devontae Adams, and it's Dontavius Wicks.
Ooh.
And I've seen that in the chat earlier. Somebody said Dontavius Wicks, and you're right. He is a stash. To me, I think he's better than Romeo Doubs. He don't have the experience, but he's better than Romeo Doubs. And I believe he's a better route runner than Christian Watson, but he's not the athlete that Christian Watson is, but he don't have to be, right? So I believe when they get around the green zone, this guy's probably gonna be a guy that they design plays for. I saw that last year. That Christian Watson wasn't healthy those games, but Dontavius Wicks looked good against pro corners that was young and vibrant. These guys, they weren't old guys. So yes, I think Dontavius Wicks is a great stash. And if anybody or any of these wide receivers go down like Christian Watson, Dontavius Wicks can come out there and get you 6 or 7 targets a game.
Bro, I still think if I'm a defensive coordinator going into this season trying to scheme for this team, I might be still a little confused on who to scheme, right?
I'm telling you.
So
it's nobody you can scheme. You can't scheme against nobody other than Jordan Love.
Right. So and then they bring in, Jacobs too. So this is a different running back, a different running style coming to this team versus like the PPR and the quickness of Aaron Jones.
Right.
So he's like a smash mouth running back. If they get the run game going, like a good running game, dude, good luck shutting down that passing game. Holy cow. And who's getting the ball?
Nobody knows.
And the other tight
nobody knows. They don't have any egos on that team that need targets. They have no egos.
They're young,
Jordan
man.
Love doesn't have an ego. The only ego might be on that team that might. Yes, sir, man. Bruh, so the instant froze again. I'll go ahead and you can do some of the comments. Let me go check this router real quick because I don't want this freezing while we answer these questions. So if you can, man, give me like 30 seconds.
All right. All right, I'm going to go to the top here. Old man Flacco, yeah. The thumbnail is Joe Flacco. Isaac, is it fixed yet or is it still spinning out? Harambe here. Yes, sir. What's up, Isaac? Hyatt. Yeah, so no one's talking about Hyatt. Everyone's talking about Neighbors. And Hyatt is also a beast. And people, drafted him in Dynasty last year to be a thing. He had, I think, 2 games, maybe 3 games where he scored a decent amount of points, 3 values some weeks, maybe even a little better.
Right. It's spinning again. We're gonna try to get through this and make it work, man. I don't know what my internet got unplugged and then we plugged it back up. Okay, now it's back up. It's back up now.
Yeah,
guys, I apologize for the buffering, but we're gonna try to get through this.
They said it's fixed. They said it's fixed.
Yeah, they say it's fixed now. It's stopped now. I see it now myself. I'm watching the live.
Guys, if it acts up, say something so we try to fix it.
Right. So yes, man. Hyatt. So he said, guys hit the like button. So right here. So you was talking about Hyatt. What was you saying about Hyatt?
How he's just a good stash because no one's talking about him.
Right. I'm targeting a lot of the Giants players. The reason why I'm targeting a lot of the Giants players, they are basically going to be for free. Nobody really targeted the Giants like that outside of Neighbors. Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy, Daniel Bellinger. So even the defense. So yes, man, I love Hyatt. Hyatt is one of my favorite players. I just wish they used him this year. They didn't use him at all last year. That was a travesty. I can't believe that Brian Daboll didn't use Hyatt. If he would have been on the Kansas City, he's better than Rashid Rice to me. Do you think he's better than Rashid Rice?
Yes.
I do too. Okay. Big Wheels, appreciate you, bro. I see you. Isaac says Fields. So I guess he was talking about as a stash, right?
This was before we started, and they were just kind of guessing.
Right.
A lot of people guessed some of the players. So
right.
Fields was one of the players. Yeah, that's a great stash.
Right. Let me see. Will Hastings, what's up, y'all? What's up, Will? And Zach says deep sleepers, Dontavius Wicks and Demarcus Robinson. Great job.
Boom.
Great job.
Wicks. DeMarcus, another one. Great.
Right. I like DeMarcus this year. Not saying he's going to be an every week starter, but I believe when you come on some bye weeks, you're going to love to have DeMarcus. I believe he's going to get some touchdowns because people are going to try to take away Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and take away the run game with Kyron Williams and Blake Horn.
What happens if these are what ifs, but this stuff does happen in fantasy. What happens if one of those running backs gets hurt? And what happens if one of those wide receivers gets hurt at the same time?
DeMarcus Robinson value goes up with a quarterback like Matthew Stafford.
You potentially have a league-winning flex.
Right. And they gave him a deal too, so he's going to be that guy. He got a nice little deal.
Oh, he balled now. He balled out last year.
Isaac overhyped WNBA. Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's getting better where it's not really, maybe 2 years ago it was kind of bad content. It was bad to watch, but now I think it's decent. I like watching Caitlin Clark. I like watching Angela Reese, and again, I think she's bringing some swag to the WNBA game. And I'm not trying to be biased in anybody or what their sexual orientation is, but I don't mind seeing a beautiful black queen like Angela Reese. She's beautiful, so and she can play, and she's aggressive. So I believe the WNBA, man, it's gonna be really good basketball going forward. I do wish that they would lower the goal. I would like to see them dunk, but a lot of the females they get mad when you say that. How you feel about that? Do you think they should lower the goals?
I mean, if they're throwing up windmill jams and everything, yeah, do it. Make the sport funner to watch for someone who might not want to watch it.
That's what it's about. It's not getting the diehards. It's about getting people who are a little bit on the fence.
Yeah, man.
Bill Brasky, he says that drama is the only thing keeping it in discussion. You got a point. You got a point. I'm not gonna sit here and say you're wrong about that.
I agree.
You got a point. Kelly says Jaylen Brown is sexy. Pause for me, but I respect what you're saying, Kelly.
Pause.
She said
he's a baller.
Why he win MVP.
That team is so stacked, man. Like, they don't need their best player to be their best player. Like, how crazy is that?
Right. I said that. I knew Boston was going to win it. I just wanted my heart. I wanted to see Kyrie Irving win because I'm a Duke fan. But outside of that, man, I mean, that team is deep. Pause. Zach says, what team is Joe Flacco on? The Indianapolis Colts. Zach says, there's going to be no space for the Flacco on my roster. For Flacco on my roster, my teams are always stacked. I got you. Sometimes you can't stack everybody. Don't drop guys that are already good potentials to be other things just to try to get some of these guys if you already got a good squad.
Just keep it up here, man, because you saw what Flacco did last year for players who weren't putting up elite numbers at the time, and Flacco comes in and you've got a team of league winners. So
right.
But yeah, I get it, man. It's strategy. You can't stash Flacco just 60 times a game, right? So that's why I asked TD earlier, like, what does Fields do better than most quarterbacks? You pair him with a decent O-line with that OC. I mean, yeah, like all the points that we wanted from Fields in the past was from running. So now he's in potentially an even better scenario. I think he should be the starter right away. I mean, that's a Maserati. Wilson is like a broken down F-150 at this point, if you even want to call him that. Wilson will start at the beginning of the year. Yeah, that's what the media is saying, that Russell Wilson is going to start. And like I said to the last comment, I think Fields should be the starter. I think they want to see if they can get their offense consistent based on how bad it was last year.
I don't think they care who the starter is. I think because they didn't spend a lot to get Justin Fields. So if he don't do what he's supposed to do, they're gonna move. I think the Giants are gonna have a better record than the Commanders. The reason why I think the Giants gets back to what they was 2 years ago. They was a good team. Brian Daboll is a good coach. But I'm very interested to see what the Commanders are going to do though.
I think it might be closer than people think, and I think it could go either way.
Right.
I like there's not a lot of NFL tape on the rookie on the Commanders, right? The quarterback. So maybe they can utilize that to surprise opponents. But I do think the Giants are a good team as well. Last year was pretty bad. They didn't have a quarterback, and then they were rotating quarterbacks there at the end. But the team we saw beat the Vikings, like you talked about a couple of years ago in the playoffs, that Giants team, they don't have Barkley anymore, but like they were locked in. They went on the road and they smashed the Vikings. So like it could happen again. I wouldn't
Facts.
be surprised if the Giants, what, 8-9, 9-8, something like that, 10-7.
I think they could win 10 games. I think that defense is really good. I think that defense is sneaky.
Yes, their defense is filthy.
Right.
Pause.
C.A. Jefferson says squeeze that backfield is crazy. Yeah, man, I agree. I think we should squeeze that backfield between Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy. Zach says Tyrone Tracy is on waivers in my dynasty league. Should I drop Jahan Dotson or Kamani Vidal to add Tyrone Tracy? No. You should keep those two guys over Tyrone Tracy.
I agree. I think Vidal is going to be a bigger running back than people think in real life and in fantasy. And then Dotson is going to excel with the new quarterback.
Right. Again, guys, I want to tell everybody, thank y'all for being patient with me. I don't know if because I was logged onto the wrong internet in the beginning because that internet went out, so I went to a different internet. So hopefully this live can just be kind of smooth, but I apologize if it's spinning. I know a lot of you said you're dizzy. I apologize. Zach says my favorite rookies are Brian Thomas Jr., Lad McConkey, and Trey Benson. Yes, Zach. Those are my favorite guys. Well, I'm not really that big on Lad, but I will draft him because I know he's going to be the PPR guy on this team. And I do think Trey Benson will get opportunities to catch passes out of the backfield. And I do believe Brian Thomas is going to be the deep threat for this team, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Excuse me. How you feel about those three guys?
I like Thomas over McConkey because I'm not over QJ yet. I know a lot of people are backing off of Quentin Johnson, but he's an athletic freak and he'll be schemed correctly this year, and he'll be more mentally prepared as the season starts with the better coaches who will get him locked in. I mean, I'm not giving up on that guy at all.
Right. So, he better be. That's all. He better be focused.
You don't think there's pressure on him now?
Not quite, because he's still got a number one pick, and he's still got 5 years to be on that deal. But he got to come out and be focused. If he knows where he want to be, like far as what the coaches are telling, like this is where you're supposed to be on this play, and he's blocking and he's doing all the small things, they're gonna give him plenty of opportunities. If he don't block and he don't know where to line up and that type of stuff, they'll move past him. So hopefully he stays focused this year.
His coach is very familiar with his game from college.
That's true.
So I think he's going to be okay.
Isaac says, guys, I broke my scapular praying for a speedy recovery. What's a scapular?
Scapular is, I believe it's in your leg. I might be mistaken. I'm no doctor.
When he said scap, I want to say head. Pause.
Isaac, what happened, man? Are you okay? Like, yeah, obviously we want you to get better.
Yes, sir.
That's no good, man. Thank you for being here. Like, hopefully this kind of helps the day go a little bit better, right?
Right.
Damn, man.
Let's see. Big Will says, not a sexy name, but solid sleeper I like is Josh Reynolds from Detroit. How you feel about Josh Reynolds?
Wide receiver, right?
Yeah, wide receiver from Detroit.
I mean, they went and got him, and that coach could scheme him, the way he wants in the offense. And I probably wouldn't draft him, but I don't see it being a bad stash. He's on the Broncos now, right?
Right.
So you got Mims.
Right.
You got the other rookie.
No, I think Reynolds is still on Detroit. I think he's still on Detroit.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what Big Will says. Either way, I'm not drafting Josh Reynolds. He might have some big games. I don't think I'm gonna have room on my team at his ADP value. I'm going to get a lot of other guys outside of him. Not saying he's a bad player. He just, like he said, he's not sexy. Pause.
Isn't Josh Reynolds a wide receiver?
Yes, from Detroit.
Is there a running back named Craig Reynolds?
Yes, that's the backup running back for. Yes, that's the third string running back.
I wonder if
Okay, so Kazi did say he's on Denver. Kazi said that he's on Denver. So you was right.
So you can mix up Craig and Josh. Yeah, okay. If you meant Craig Reynolds, I mean, if a running back there goes down.
I think he meant Josh. I think he just forgot he's on Denver.
Yeah. So Judy is gone. Jerry Judy's gone, right?
Right.
Sutton is probably on the way out. Right. And then they have Mims and then the rookie Franklin. Right. But they did go and get Josh Reynolds. So maybe they have plans for him. It's something I'll throw him on my watcher list. Like maybe you're onto something there, Big Will. What do you think about Josh Reynolds? You're not gonna. Nah.
No, that's what I call. That's a no disrespect. That's a hobo trash guy. That's a guy digging in the bottom of the trash. And you from California, you understand what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. There's a guy outside doing it right now.
Zach says Blake Corum or Trey Benson. I'm going.
That's tough.
It is. I'll probably go with Trey Benson because of James Conner volatility.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree, and I think I would go with Corum.
I can't argue with you. I understand, man. Tomato, as I used to call
it. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy stashing either one of those players, and they're both insanely talented, and I like the teams they landed on for sure.
Right, guys, make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Appreciate it. Zach says Kyron gets injured a lot, so Blake Corum is a great stash. I agree. We both agree with that.
Yep.
Zach says he was talking that Big Wheel. Josh Reynolds is on the Broncos now. Okay, so he did tell him. Zach says also Brandon Ayuk might get traded. So I think he was talking about when he was talking about Ricky Pearsall.
Correct.
Right.
And that's true. So if that does happen, Pearsall's ADP goes to what, like the 7th, 8th?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right.
Versus maybe the 10th, 11th, 12th, and on.
Or not even drafted in some redraft leagues.
Right.
Adios. He says, "What's up, guys? What's going on, Adios? Silver Rapture in the house." And Will Hayes says Cooks. Yes, Cooks is there. He did get a nice deal to go to Dallas. But I think Jalen Tolbert is the young guy that was drafted in the second. I'm high on Tolbert.
Yep.
Try to get through this spinning again. Hopefully, man. I apologize, man. I don't know why this is going on. This is why I'm moving too. This is another reason because the internet is terrible here.
That's okay.
Yeah, it is. It's not that. Sorry. All right, there we go. We back in there. We back in there, guys. Apologize. Let me see. Already stashed Jalen. Okay, so Zach says he already stashed Jalen Tolbert. Good job, bro. Good job. I think that's cutting edge content. I think that's looking for the future. Aaron Holloway says, "Hey everyone," and Zach says Isaiah Likely is a great late tight end pickup if you don't take tight ends early. I agree with that. That's the only reason why I'm fading Mark Andrews in the 3rd round this year. I'm willing to take him at some point, but he's probably not going to fall that far. But Mark Andrews will probably have 10 receiving touchdowns. I just don't think he's going to get that many targets like he's had in the past. Zach says, if you had to decide between drafting Gus Bus or Vidal, who would you take?
I would draft Gus.
I would draft Gus too.
He's going to be the guy. It's just Vidal is going to be, I think, like we were saying earlier, like a big part of this team going forward. I do think it will happen this year, but I don't think it'll happen necessarily early. So you definitely want to take advantage of them running Gus the Bus.
Facts. I think it's two different type of players. I think Vidal's a stash, and I think Gus is a guy that you can start in the flex immediately.
I agree.
Zach says, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Big Will says Jalen Warren. Yes, I think Jalen Warren, I don't know if he's a stash guy. I think he's more of a late round running back.
He's getting drafted.
Yeah, he's getting drafted.
Now, if you go hero RB and you stack up on running backs, that's a phenomenal stash.
Right. Zach says, do you have any suggestions to trade Pollard for in Dynasty, or do I keep Pollard on my bench? Zamir White. I mean, I don't think you can do it, but I would try to get Zamir White. Any rookies you think he could? Would you do that? Would you make a trade for any rookies, or would you just hold on to Pollard?
I forget who his running backs are. If it's the same team, I think it's the team that's like overly stacked. I would probably keep him 1 year, because what if he balls out? His value goes up, and then you can flip him next year for a better player, right?
Right.
And he's depth.
Right.
That's just what I would do.
Right. I'm probably not going to draft him, but if you got him, man, you probably got to hold on to him. If not, it's going to be hard to get that type of value from anybody. I think he's probably the guy that you should hold on for right now.
His stock is so low. Like, let him get his value up, and then
right. Let him do something first, and he might end up being better for you than you trying to like push him off for chopped liver. Kevin says, "What up, guys? What's up, Kevin?" Zach says, "Wicks, I called it. You did, bro. You called it, Zach." Kevin says Wicks can play. Guys, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Appreciate everybody being here. I see a couple new names in here. Dickerson says, I like Pollard this year. He could be good, man. I actually like Tajay Spears a little bit better, but I think, Harambe, you like Pollard a little bit over Tajay, don't you?
I do. He's, not to say Spears isn't, an established NFL running back. He played well last year. Could have played better with better quarterback play. But Pollard, like you saw him ball out when you're on Dallas, and then he was a late first, early second rounder in fantasy the following year, and he didn't return that value. So he still carries PPR upside, and he could be a goal line guy on this team as well. So I do like Pollard still. He's fairly young, and I like the fact he's going back to Tennessee, where he went to college. He wasn't a Vol, but he was a Tiger, a Memphis Tiger.
Right. Big Will says, also, I think Rico Dowdle is a stash. Bruh, that is a good one. We forgot about him. I think Rico Dowdle is a good stash.
I got him in Dynasty. I picked him up off waivers last year.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna start that best ball league soon. We're gonna do this Dynasty league. I'm gonna turn you on IDP. And when you be like, oh, hey, when you be like, hey, TD, man, this IDP is awesome. I'm gonna be like, man, I told you. IDP, man, is so fun, man. You really get that feeling like you're a real GM.
Well, you get excited about watching defense too, right?
Yes, you do. And you're watching it by players. It ain't just like you want the DST to do good.
Right.
You really don't care about the DST. You just like you just want your player to ball out or get a pick or knock the ball down, do something, man. I quit watching Red Zone when I started playing IDP because I actually cared about the defensive players. I just don't care about scoring as much.
I agree. These comments are funny, man.
Let me see. Rico, great stash. Okay. Any mention of the wee lady McConkles? I don't get that.
He's talking about Lad McConkey. He called him wee laddie McConkles.
Oh, okay.
He's a moron.
Oh, okay. Appreciate you being here, Steven. Steven
Yes,
says
sir.
the room's spinning real fast because of all the pausing. Pause. I like that. Facts. Pun intended. Pun intended.
Lots of pun. Lots of pause.
Jamie says, "Yo, TD, that just messaged you about posting your lives on the Fantasy Football Discussion Facebook. Thank you, bro. I will be doing that. Let me know what I got to do and how I got to pay for that." Steven says, "Bill Brasky, great name. What's Bill Brasky?"
Bill Brasky, I believe, was like, what I know of it was a Saturday Night Live skit from the 90s. But apparently, like, Bill Brasky was like, I think a coach or something. I could be mistaken. I don't know enough. But I remember SNL did a ridiculous skit on it in the 90s. So like, if you go on YouTube, you can look up, Bill Brasky skit.
Okay.
Pause.
Zach says, Week 10 matchups this year: Lions at Texans, Dolphins at Rams. Who you taking to win those games?
Ooh.
I'm taking. Man, that's hard. You know what I'm gonna do, man? I'm taking the over. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not picking those type of games. You can't pick that type of game. I'm just taking the over.
I'm taking the Lions.
All right.
And I'm taking the Rams.
That's a good pick, and you're probably gonna be right. The Dolphins and the Rams, I'll take the under. So the Lions and Texans, I'm taking the over, and Dolphins and Rams, I'm taking the under. But if you put a gun to me and I have to pick, I would pick the Texans and the Rams.
Those are good games, man.
Great games. Great. He knew what he was doing. Those are great, fantastic games. Isaac says, shoulder bone on my back. That's the
I was way off.
Yes.
This right here, I think, like right there.
Right. Bro, be safe, bro. Be safe.
Isaac, I hope you get better, man. Just rest up, lots of water.
Yes, sir. Guys, make sure you get the likes up. As you come in, let's get the likes up. Appreciate everybody being here. With all the spinning going on. Pause. Okay, so Zach says, would you rather take Mims or Franklin than Reynolds? I'm taking Franklin and Mims. I'm probably taking Mims over both of them.
I do like Mims over Reynolds. There's a storyline. Franklin is playing with his college quarterback, so we might have a nasty little stack on our hands. Pause.
Right. I said Franklin was my number 3 wide receiver this year. But if I had to choose early, I'm probably going with Mims.
Yeah, to draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Ethan, what's up, bro? That dude that's one hell of a drafter right there. Appreciate you being here, Ethan. He says, do you like stashing J.K. Dobbins since if Gus Edwards don't carry the load, pause, he might take over? No, I'm not touching J.K. Dobbins. Hey, listen, guys, it's like this, and I hate to go to the relationships, but life is very symbolic and metaphoric. And I believe you can't. Every woman that want to be with you, I don't think you take her on a date because you can't go for everything, right? It's like a kid. You can't take candy from everybody. I'm not picking J.K. Dobbins up just because of what he did 2 or 3 years ago, and he's out there on the waivers. I'm not doing this. Too many other good players out there that got more potential. Now, listen, can he boom, man, and come out here and do a Deontay Foreman and show us how great medical has got in the last 2 or 3 years? That's possible, but I'm not taking him. How you feel about it, Harambe?
Nah, man, I want Vidal. If I'm going to stash a backup running back to Gus the Bus, it'll be Kamani.
Right. Zach says, rather have DK Metcalf or Zay Flowers. Man, I love DK Metcalf. That's one of my favorite players, but I'm going with Zay.
Yep. I would love to have both of them on my team this year.
Me too.
I'm going to go with Zay Flowers.
Yep.
Now, I do think the Seattle passing offense will be much better this year and much more serviceable for fantasy. But I want Zay. I don't know, man, because you could get JSN later. You can get Lockett. No one talks about. He's older now. He's getting up there, but like
he's had 1,000 yards every year of his career.
He's missed what, one game in like how many seasons?
Right, and this guy was a 25-year-old virgin too, so he got a lot of left in the tank. Pause.
His calcium levels are where they need to be.
Yes.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
That's why he's only missed one game.
Facts, dude.
Did you hear about that, man, that he was a virgin, man, at 24, 25 years old?
No.
Yeah, go look it up.
I'll do my research, man. That's he lost his virginity in the third quadrant. Good for him, man.
Right.
But no one for fantasy, like no one talks about him at all.
Right. Right. Kazi says stats.
It's China. It's China. They're messing with your internet.
Right. Okay. Donald Trump. Okay. All right. We back on now.
Let's go.
All right. But yeah, man, I wouldn't go dumpster diving with Ben Simmons in redraft. Dynasty, yeah, I think he's a 3rd round pick in like a 5-round league, 12 team. But how you feel about Ben Simmons?
Honestly, man, if like say you're getting late in the draft and there's 3 rounds or 4 rounds left and I don't have a tight end, I might draft him.
Okay.
I think he might be serviceable in fantasy with the quarterback and the offense they're going to put there. Dynasty for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're right.
But he might surprise, man. He might have a couple boom weeks.
Right. But I don't know if he's going to be able to like to register with all these good tight ends out here, man. That's going to be tough. But listen, anything is possible.
I could see him being like maybe a midseason waiver ad for a team that needs a tight end,
Right.
Maybe.
Zach says, I never did IDP league. What would be your draft strategies for IDP leagues? Bro, I'm gonna give it to you. Pause. I'm gonna give you the gas because you are a member, but this is something that I like to talk about in consultations because this is kind of my stuff. But I'm gonna give it to you, man. Pause. So I draft my IDP players kind of like I do running backs. So after I go say I'm drafting, I'm doing a startup dynasty. I don't do a lot of redraft IDP leagues, but in dynasty, I will go, say I get Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm just giving you some players. And say I get Lamar Jackson. Now, everybody else still going to get some of these good wide receivers and running backs out there. Me, I'm going to go ahead and get a top linebacker like Roquan Smith or Quay Walker, the youngest, best linebacker. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure that if I don't got the best quarterbacks, then I'm going to have the best linebackers. And that's called zigging and zagging. So when they zigging, I'm zagging. And I also call it, I don't want sloppy seconds. So if everybody didn't went on a quarterback run and I'm the 7th guy and I'm trying to get the 7th best quarterback, then I'm going to go to another position where nobody's have drafted yet, and I'm going to get the top guys. That way I'm balancing my team off. So in most of my leagues and IDP, I got the best IDP team in the leagues. Because when guys, if I went running back first and they went quarterbacks, then I'm going to go ahead and probably get a tight end or I'm going to go get a linebacker or a safety. So it's called zigging and zagging. That's how I do an IDP. Now, listen, if you get a lead with me and you draft defense early, I'm going to know that you sniping. You taking my guys. But yeah, that's the gas, bro. That's how you do that, Zach. That's how you do that. Listen, guys, the best ball league is going to be for members only. Dynasty. I'm not doing any more wide open. I already got like 7 or 8 dynasty leagues. I'm really busy. So it's going, bro, if you want to get in there, it just depends on what tier you on. I'm probably gonna be doing some regular redraft best ball leagues too, where whatever member tier you own, it's gonna be for free, and I'm gonna sponsor the prize. So make sure you get in those too. GDLT, what's up, bruh? He says strategy for IDP is to draft defense late. I disagree with that. Bro. I'm going to get my defense. I'm going to have Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Darren James, Aiden Hutchinson, Michael Parsons. And then you might say, well, TD, you ain't got no running backs. I don't care. I go get Kamani Vidal. But I got Lamar Jackson. I got Tyreek Hill. I got Kyle Hamilton. I got Roquan Smith. So when your running backs, if they get hurt or something, I'm catching up with you. Where in the fourth quadrant, my team is just as good as yours because I got guys that was late that was going to get better. And my defense, I had studs out the whole year, right? So that's how I play. Anything you want to comment on?
I'm not going to disagree with how you play the IDP. I played in an IDP league last year. It was 3 positions.
Right.
It was the first time I ever did it. And so I kind of I drafted them late. I drafted good players. Like I drafted Jets players. I drafted Donnell Hunter guys early. And everyone's like, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. He won the league though. But he also had Puka Nacua off waivers. Like he had players that really elevated his team. So I really think there's pros and cons to both approaches with the IDP. And it is very fun. IDP is badass.
Right. And I agree. So if I'm in a league with only 3 IDPs, then I'm waiting late and I'm gonna get a trending linebacker. But I got 9 starters on my IDPs.
Yeah, so you want to start drafting them probably pretty early.
Yes. So it's not, you can't win. I know a guy, he first started, he's like, man, I'm not drafting defense. And this year, man, he traded Lamar Jackson. He said, man, I gotta rebuild my team. I can't come down. I can't come get y'all on the defense. I don't got enough players. So he had to trade and go make moves for big time defensive players because he couldn't win. He'll have a great offensive week, and then 4 or 5 guys will score 30, 40 points on the defensive side because I don't got that 9-point defense scoring type stuff.
How many points?
40 points. Can Jamar Chase score 40 points? Michael Parsons can. So if Michael Parsons get 3 sacks, bro, that's 40, 50 points. Each sack is 6 points. So defense matters. Interception is 6 points. Interception yards. So a lot of guys when they then Rashid Shaheed. Bro, go ahead and get to some of these last questions. This thing is keep spinning. So I'll be right back, bro.
All right. Ethan said, you all taking Jerome Ford or Zeke? That's a good question, man. Might draft late as well. Like he's a startable running back. He's on a better team this year. But we saw what Ford can do last year when Chubb was out, and we don't know anything on Nick Chubb yet. Like no media stories have come out. There's no timetable for his return. So I like Jerome Ford personally. TD might disagree with me, but I'm not entirely sure.
It depends on how my team is built. Special years and special corners who they can ball. When they get picks, I mean, they score a lot of points because they can get that pick and then you get the yards for the interception return. So I would say I'm drafting linebackers first, then safeties, and then defensive ends for my defensive line spot. I don't draft D tackles for my defensive line spot because defensive end get more sacks than D tackles unless you're Aaron Donald. GDLT says I change IDP players like clothes. You right. You can listen. I know a guy that plays that way. He wins. You can do it because there are guys out there you can find, but I don't have time to skim the waiver wire all the time like that. I like to be able to have my stud guys, and then I can just look for running backs. You got to be really working that waiver wire to get the IDP guys because they come in just like that. They might come in the middle of a quadrant and boom out, and if you don't get them, somebody else will get them. But you can play IDP that way.